everyone, this is Sasha bringing you a video tutorial today from BP4U. And today we're going to be talking about blending modes. And so blending modes are so fun because you can use these blending modes to change the look of a layer over here in your layers panel. And so I'm going to demonstrate this for you today. And so in order to see them, you can see here that I can't change the blend mode on my locked background layer. So I've duplicated my background layer here, and now I'm able to play with these blending modes. And so you can see that, normally we can change opacity or we can change the fill and kind of create different looks. But this blending modes allows us to create even more. We can take that a step farther and go even more in depth with these looks that we can kind of create. And so the blending modes are divided into groups, and you can see the division here with these lines. So group 1 is the normal blend modes. Group 2 is the darken blend modes. Group 3 is the lighten blend modes. Group 4 is the contrast blend modes. Group 5 is divided into two sets. We've got inversion is the first two. Difference and exclusion are in the version group. Subtract and divide are in the cancellation group. And group 6 is the component blend modes. And so there's also some keyboard shortcuts to get us to these blend modes. If you are on a PC, then you're going to want to hit Shift and Alt and then one of the letters that I'm about to tell you. So for normal, it would be Shift Alt N. If you are on a Mac, you would press Shift Option and then one of the letters I'm about to tell you. For example, the normal blend mode would be Shift Option N. So each one of these has a different letter, and it's always going to start with either Shift Alt or Shift Option before you click on that letter. So normal is N, dissolve is I, darken is K, multiply is M, color burn is B, linear burn is A. Darker color does not have one. Lighten is G, screen is S, color dodge is D, linear dodge is W, lighten color does not have one, overlay is O, soft light is F, hard light is H, vivid light is V, linear light is J, pen light is Z, hard mix is L, difference is E, exclusion is X, subtract and divide do not have them, hue is U, saturation is T, color is C, and luminosity is Y. And so if you're really into keyboard shortcuts and you use them often, then those are some keyboard shortcuts that you might want to go ahead and memorize. So there's also what is referred to as the Special 8. And the Special 8 is a special group of 8 blend modes that you can kind of play around with differently than you can the other blend modes. So my CS5 has 27 blend modes, and so 8 of them I can use this fill differently than I can use opacity. Normally, if I click on a blend mode, the opacity looks the same as the fill, and normally I can't tell a difference in between using the two of them, except for when I use the Special 8. So let me go ahead and I'm going to just make a new fill layer. Let's grab a kind of purple color here. So the first one is color burn, and I'm going to show you what I mean by this. And so here is our color burn normally, and here is color burn at 50% opacity, and I'm going to go ahead and take a snapshot of that. And I'm going to put the opacity back at 100%, and we're going to do color burn at a fill of 50%. And let's go ahead and compare the two of those. So here was the opacity at 50%, and here is the fill at 50%. And so you can see that there is a pretty dramatic difference between the two. and the looks that you are able to achieve with that. And so the special 8 are color burn, linear burn, color dodge, linear dodge, vivid light, linear light, hard mix, and difference. So with all 8 of those, you can play with the opacity and the fill to achieve very, very different looks. And so that is something that you want to kind of keep in mind when you are going through and doing your editing with blend modes. The most common blend modes to use are multiply, screen, overlay, and my personal favorite is soft light. And these blend mode adjustments are non-destructive. So as I kind of come over here and I play with these blend modes, I'm not losing anything to my photo. I'm not going to end up with a pixelated look if I change my mind 300 times. The quality is not going to be compromised whatsoever. So the first blend mode that we have here is normal. I'm going to push that back up to 100%. So this is normal, and this is just the blend mode as it is. The next one is dissolve, and this is where I see dissolve, and I'm going to show you a little something here. I'm going to just brighten up this duplicated background layer, and if I change my blend mode to dissolve and I lower my opacity, you can see all of this what looks like grain, and it's referred to as a diffusion dither pattern. And what is happening here is the brightness layer that I merged onto this duplicated background layer is dissolving, and so you're getting this almost grain-like look to your photo. And so that's something just a little bit unique that you can kind of keep in mind. The next blend mode is in the darken group. And so we have this darken group, and what the darken group does is it replaces all the lighter values with this purple color here, and it keeps the darker values of the photo. And so as you scroll down through here in the darken group, you can see that we're getting different looks depending upon which blend mode that we choose. And so you can see the intensity, the way the contrast in the photo looks. Each one of them are just a little bit different, but they are all playing up the darker pixels in the photograph. Now the lighten group and the darken group are exact opposites of each other. So darken is the opposite of lighten, multiply is the opposite of screen, color burn is the opposite of color dodge, linear burn is the opposite of linear dodge, and darker color is the opposite of lighter color. And so they're going to do the same thing, except they're going to play up the lighter values of the photograph and replace the darker values with our purple color that we have here. And so we can get some pretty interesting effects from this screen blend mode, and probably one of my favorites out of this group is from the lighten blend mode, and my favorite out of here is screen, and I like to take that and I like to lower the opacity a little bit and kind of get a hazy effect, kind of what I call a color haze from my pictures. And so that's something you can kind of keep in mind. And here we have color dodge, linear dodge, and we have lighter color. And so you can see some of the interesting effects that we can achieve by using this lighten group. The next one that we have is the contrast group, and all of these here are going to bring out some contrast in our photos. So we can see overlay. My favorite one is soft light. I love this blend mode. And you can see here, if I lower the opacity, just how pretty that can tone our pictures and get some really nice, interesting looks. I use it often. The next one we have here is hard light, vivid light, linear light, pen light, and then we have one called hard mix. Now this one is a little bit unique because you're only going to see 8 colors with this blend mode. And the 8 colors that you could potentially see with this blend mode are red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, yellow, black, or white. And so I can see here that I see a lot of magenta, I can see some blue, some red, white, black, a little yellow over here. And I think that's about it. I'm not seeing any other colors, so you're not going to see a nice beige skin tone or anything like that. It's just those 8 colors, and so it's really unique in that perspective. The next blend mode that we have is called Difference. In Difference and all of these in this grouping here kind of almost give you this inversion sort of effect to them. And then here we have Exclusion, we have Subtract, and then we have Divide. And so we can get some really interesting looks out of these 4 right here. And you can kind of play with those to get a really unique look to your photos. Now we have Hue, and everything is going to be a hue of this purple color here. And so you can again get a really interesting look from your photo by playing with this blend mode. Saturation makes everything look very saturated and kind of a play on this color as well. Then we have Color. Now everything in the photo is going to be this color. It's similar to Hue, except it's a little bit more flat because everything is this color and this color only. For the most part, you can see that we've got lighter and darker variations of it, but for the most part, everything looks very, very purple. And then we have Luminosity, which is just, it's very unique in itself. And you can see that it can create a very interesting look to your photograph as well. And so by playing with these blend modes and getting a feel and an understanding for what they do, you can really take your work up to the next level and achieve something that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to achieve without the blend mode use. And then by furthering that, by playing with opacity and then fill on the Special 8, you can again really bump it up to the next level and create something absolutely magical that you couldn't have otherwise created. So thank you for watching this video tutorial. Happy editing!